You're tuned into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. And now, here are your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. What is going on, racers? Good to see another edition of the Northwest Race Report, where we inspire, improve, and inform racers everywhere. In with me, my main man, Glenn Lippy Tower. Lippy, what is shaking, bacon?
It's all good in the hood today.
Absolutely it is. And what's shaking with you, Jeff Eden? Back for a fourth week. He must be a glutton for punishment, right?
The sun is shining. That's what we want. Sunshine.
Yeah. And look who P1 is. It is Scott Keeney, P1. Wow. So what's been happening, Lip?
It's all good, you know. I got more work than I know what to do with, which is a great thing. But everything's good. I'll get into that more later.
That's awesome. And look at this. P2 is Brent Meyer. Are you kidding me right now? That is ridiculous.
Both of those guys are so stoked for this weekend, as well as I am. Can't wait.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. Boy, we got everybody coming in. Brent Meyer, Jerry Fonfara is third.
Podium finish.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why? Right on. Well, we got a great show for you tonight. We got in the house coming on at 7. We got the man, Mike Burris, going to be with us. So we're going to be, I don't know, Lip, you're probably really excited about that.
I am overly excited. I always enjoy when he comes on. Great person right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we got a good show for you. We got results from, a lot of karting stuff going on. Club races from Tri-Cities, from Boise. We got, I got a little bit of Evergreen stuff. Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, got some Evergreen. Jeff, what do you got going on tonight?
Well, one thing about it won't be the results from last week because Mother Nature won that race.
Yeah? But you got a little something up your sleeve?
Oh, yeah. I always got something up my sleeve. We're going to kind of explain what Grays Harbor runs for their classes.
Oh, nice.
So that'll give everybody get everybody excited about maybe going down there this weekend.
Maybe.
Man, that is awesome. So just so you know, we got our new we got our board working, I think, finally. So kind of excited about that. Knock on wood. We're going to not say anything, but
so far so good.
Yeah, so if there's little stalls here and there, it's because we're just trying to make sure to get these final adjustments on here. But yeah, we got a great show for you. We got that. We've got we're going to talk this weekend at Albany. We're going to talk about the opening quarter point race and the kickoff for the Burris Summer Shootout Series.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good thing. It's going to be a good race. It looks like quite a few people showing up down there, so I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know if practice went off tonight, if anybody could let us know if that happened down there or not. I don't see Jason on here anywhere, so he's either working the track or hiding. I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's. Shall we proceed?
We might as well.
We should. And tonight's Winner's Circle Wednesday is brought to you by the great folks at Wicked Fabrication, Auburn, Washington. Since 2002, giving car enthusiasts and rodders the best in custom fab. And they're on Facebook. Check them out. Be sure you stop by there and like them. And you can check them out on the web, www.wickedfab.com. Craig Wick and his gang do an awesome job, and they're a big part of this show. So what do you know about the Mississippi UAS right now?
I know that they got a great program going out there, and hats off to everybody involved. I know they're running the junior UAS as well, and it's very well supported with a great group of people that are running the show back there.
Yes, very awesome. Well, let me just tell you that they had. Right now, they're at the halfway point, right? So they've got after three different events on 3 different tracks, they've had 46 total racers and 31 different racers so far. And your current It's only, well, they say at the halfway mark, but it's the top 10. I grabbed him just because he had him up there. But Buddy Anderson leading the way, 330 points. Cody Chisholm right behind, 10 behind. Houston Black. That's kind of a sweet racing name, isn't it?
It is. I want that.
Yeah. John Jordan. Jason Rankin is 5th. Justin Jones, 0-2 Tough in the 0-2-1 is 6th. Sean Hill, 7th. Wesley Tower, 8th. Brent Hughes and Jason Anderson round out the top 10. And that's what's going on in the Mississippi. You know, I don't know if you read any of that stuff about the Mississippi UAS junior stuff. It's taken off, man.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, there's a lot of support for that back there, and I'm glad. And it seems like a great program. You know, it's just a stepping stone, and that's really what's needed for the UAS. So
yes,
glad
absolutely.
to see that.
Yes, absolutely. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Karting wise, let's see what took place. Snake River Karters had their opening club race this past weekend. And in Junior 1 LO206, it was Peyton Cook taking the win, William Ginn second, Zach Telford third. Junior 1 Animal went to Jacob the Shark Smith. Is that a surprise?
No, not at all. Oops. It doesn't like that at all.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that I was having. Of course.
No, I'm dead now. There we go. I'm back on now. So we're still working through a few things here. We figured out what one of our problems was, and we got a new piece of equipment, so now we're just trying to integrate it into everything.
Yeah, and that's why they tell you not to run too many junctions together because you got it. So I didn't have one, so I had to make one work, and that's it. So sorry about that, guys. But Shifter Main went to Miles Peterson. Do you know Miles Peterson?
Never met him.
Arguably, in my opinion, probably one of the best all-around karters we got in the Northwest. I mean, all around. He can drive anything, from a Rotax to a 4-stroke to a shifter. The kid's, he's mighty good. He wins it. Brent Galvin second, and Tom Ross was third. Looks like Rotax Senior went to Randy Schroeder. World Formula went to Brent Galvin. Dale Schmitker was second. In the S4 main, Tim Doyen. Do you know Tim?
Nope.
Good guy. He's an old school. He's kind of a, how would I describe him? He's kind of like a, I don't know, sort of like a hippie, kind of, you know what I mean?
Nice.
He's just
I've been called that.
He's just a good old boy, and he wins it. Jeff Shaver was second. Third was Gaitan Erdl. Man, you know, he was just a kid. He was racing the junior stuff, and there he is there. So, man, that's pretty good stuff in the S4. Good stuff. Let's see here. Tri-Cities. They had their opener. Junior 1 LO206 went to Trey Arnzen. Tegan Fletcher second. Harrison Budzik was third. Micromax went to Katie Musgrave. Man, another Musgrave. Wow. Ellie was the previous one, so she must have moved on. But, wow, he's going to be busy again. Junior 2 LO206 and Junior 2, the Animal. Looks like Cody Nagel wins the Junior 2 LO206. Lucas Story second. Third was Wesley Hanna. Junior 2 Animal went to Kyle Sieg. Kid Kart, they had a bunch of them. They had 7. So that's pretty good. I mean, for kid karts, as far as on the pavement, right?
We're doing better than us.
Excuse me. Tony Schaff, Caleb Keck, Maddox Moran, Alden Cleaver, Aiden Hansen, Clayton Hayes Jr., and Mackenzie Tidrick. You know BJ Tidrick, big stock car guy.
Yep.
So, and then Junior LO206 Senior went to Kellen Dean. That guy's a stud. Karinkowitz was second. Justin and Bryce Peterson round out top 3. LO206 Masters went to Michael Groff, former president of Tri-Cities. Eric Hubley was second. Jeff Johnson third. Rotax Jr. went to Matt Morgan. Again, arguably a very good driver around here. And he's tried his hand a little bit in the national scene, but he wins it. Nicky Johnston, another unsung guy, he was second. Ellie Musgrave third. Minimax, Trey Arnzen, Garrett Pointer 1-2. PRD controlled. I went to Ricky Worley, Midnight Motorsports, Dylan Richardson, and then Richard Worley was third. Matt Lodges and John McNeil around the top 5. Rotax Senior went to Kalen Richmond. Now, you know, this is a big deal for me. Kalen Richmond's a good kid, and he was one of those that was always super close, but never could get it, right? Could lead 8 out of the, could lead everyone, but and something would happen. I mean, just had terrible luck. He finally gets one. That's pretty cool. Jerry Pitts, man, hardest charging guy around, Revolution Racing. Joey McGuire shows up. Wow. And that was your top 3. Shifter final, no surprise there. Kyle Wick beats Justin Walsh. That kid can drive. Wick can drive.
Wicks are our racers.
Yep, they can drive. No two ways about it. And then on the national level, down at NOLA, you know where that is? It's in Louisiana.
Oh,
kind of by the in the bayou, born in the bayou. But anyway, that's where the nationals were. The the world finals were there here a couple of years ago. But they had their race there. It was DD2 went to Jeff Kingsley. Max Sr. went to Oliver Askew. Good wheel. Diego LaRock runs Micro Max. Josh Pearson, local boy, he runs second. Tyler Gonzalez wins Mini Max. Nick Neary and Sabre Cook were 1-2 in Shifter Senior. Shifter Masters goes to Ryan Kinnear. Good stuff there. Do you ever go to Evergreen?
No, I haven't been there. Well, I haven't been there in
Speedway,
20 years.
You haven't. So you don't go on the Friday night. Do you go, Jeff?
No, I don't.
Have you? You've been, but you.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
Here lately.
Well, they had their Frontier Night. I can't believe they got it in.
No,
But
I don't
they
either.
did.
Wait,
But
it's
they did.
last Saturday, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
a good day.
Was it? I thought it was. Everyone was iffy because I know they called.
Yeah, but Elma got called. Skagit's opener was called.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Evergreen and Skagit pretty
So
close
yeah,
in
it was
reality.
pretty surprising
are.
that they got in. But the Hornet main went to Toby Jenkins. Late model main. They had 2 50-lappers for this Frontier Night. So you know how they do. They run 2 50 laps. Naima Lang wins the first one. Trenton Moriarty was second. Shane Saw in third. Molly Helmuth, former Carter, was fourth. And
Nice.
Tyler Tanner was fifth. And then he's a former quarter midget kid. And then the second main, guess who wins it? Donnie Winot. That's awesome. Naima Lang was second. Jeff Knight. You know, Jeff Knight is a pastor. Did you know that?
Nice.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, the racing pastor. He's got a big church up in the Seattle area. Scott Lacrosse and Mike Holden. And those of you that like TV, have you seen his little reality series? Something with Holden. It's on. It's kind of a good show if you watch. A lot of it's just in-car stuff, but they get all the radio stuff. They do sometimes they put on the Facebook posts that they go back and forth, and it's pretty good. It's you should check it out. I'll that'll be my homework for next week. I'll get you that, but it's a actual reality series. So mini stocks went to Nat Barber. Street stocks went to Chad Fitzpatrick. Meridian Speedway. You been there?
Yes, I have.
What's it like?
It's actually a nice facility for out in the middle of nowhere.
Have you been there?
No, where's Meridian?
It's in Idaho.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never been there either. But they had the Napa Big 5 opener. Claimers went to Brian Hyde. Pro 4 went to Brendan Fries. That Pro 4 looks interesting to me.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. The high school tuners. Now, what a great idea, right?
That's like the high school drags, but for the oval. I
Yeah.
love it.
I mean,
It's
what a great idea. It is. Riley Rogers wins that. And then the Big 5 late model main went to Justin Ellis. Hannah Newhouse, former go-karter, was 5th. And another guest of ours, Jesse Awuji, was
nice.
11th. So that's pretty good stuff there. The race and Navy guy. And then the mods, the NWAAS, Northwest, I don't even know what that stands for, but Larry Hall wins that. And another former karter, Stafford Smith, brings it home third. He makes the podium. So good stuff there. And then finally, last but certainly not least, it is Liberty Raceway, our UAS boys. This was, I think it was last weekend or a little bit before. I grabbed it because we didn't report on it, but Robbie Yao wins it.
Oh, surprise.
Yep. Joseph Overstreet second, Nick Hatton third, Terry Hollyfield was fourth, Austin Say, he was third, fourth, Austin Say fifth, Nick Hatton, sixth, Andy Foley, Justin Brown, and Wayne Felch.
That's a stacked field.
Can you believe
Wow.
that? Wayne Felch. comes out of the woodwork.
I've seen some stuff from him lately.
You have? I haven't.
I have.
New machine or?
Nah, he's working on the duals still, but yeah, he's been out and about and making some waves. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that I don't know. Did you have? You don't have any results because everything got rained out, right? So
That's it.
That's it for the results.
Mother Nature
Winner
wins on
Circle
that.
Wednesday. So congratulations to all the winners because we all know here how tough it is to win. And but just you know what? Honestly, I respect all of them that go there because just being there is a feat.
Oh yeah, most of the time it is definitely.
Yeah. I mean, everybody brings something to the table. So congratulations to all the racers. But to those who won, great job. It is going on. So this weekend, I guess we got a few minutes because Mike Burris is going to be calling at 7. Our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guest, which is I'm excited about that.
Looks like Clark Family Racing checked in, and Dennis Trammell and the Rockets here.
Yeah.
Brent Meyer showed up, and it did get rained out, too, confirmed from Brent Meyer and from Ronnie Cox, saying no, Albany, got rained out down there tonight for the practice. So
wow,
that is discouraging. Hopefully we'll be able to get our weekend in, because I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. But and Nick Hanley checking in, too. Nice, great. Glad to see everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Wow, Clark Family Racing in the house, baby. So I guess we could talk about, first of all, Rocky Hill Karting Extreme Kart Track. Do you know where that is? It's down in Bakersfield there. Damian Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They're doing some good things down there. Doing a lot of stuff with the kids. They got a grade point thing and all that stuff. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Damian Sullivan for doing some cool stuff down there. It's kind of different than we do, but it's cool.
He's a busy guy, and he's really promoting it to the kids and trying to get more kids involved. And that's I wish I had the time to do it. Hats off to him with what he's doing and what he's getting going. It's a great thing.
Yeah, because you were saying a couple weeks ago that that's how the juniors are the future, basically.
Yeah, we don't have them. We don't got nothing.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yep. So, but this weekend coming up, big one in Albany. I still haven't heard the whole deal, what it is. I mean, are the bikes, is it everything?
The bikes will be running with us. That's why we're running earlier in the day. Before it was, the bikes finished up and then we came in the evening. But now it's going to be us along with the bikes, which isn't going to be a bad thing because it's going to add some time in between each one of our rounds to give us a chance to do things to our carts. So I'm glad, and I don't mind sharing with the bikes. I mean, they generally don't like us four-wheel guys, but I like them. So we'll just keep making friends, and hopefully it'll all work out well.
Well, when they're faster around there than we are, they can maybe not like us.
Well,
I'm saying. But until then,
the track I like doesn't work real well for bikes, so hopefully we can find a happy medium because they like it a little bit of a dry, slickish, and I like it personally a little wetter with a little bit more grip because that's the way I set my carts up. So having said that, I'm stepping up my prep game. So I'm
sure.
Coming at you.
Well, dry slick is a true equalizer. I mean, it's an equalizer.
It will find the drivers.
Yes, it will. For sure. I always like, the heavy stuff, everybody, guys that are nobodies are rockets when it's heavy, right?
Yeah.
But it's when
stand on it.
It's when you when it dries out, that's when you know whether or not you got something going on.
I'm the rocket guy, so I like it wet.
That's cool. That's more than cool, but so this weekend, big weekend down in Albany.
Yeah.
The Motorsports Park. If you haven't been there, it's a great place. Evidently, it's got some drainage problems now, but it is the kickoff for it'll be the opener for the Unlimited All-Stars, and it's also the first quarter point race. So, boy, they were hoping to get one in before, but, man, you had your first race as a quarter point thing, and, boy, it's game on.
Well, yeah, and 2 weeks ago they tried to get the first race in, and it didn't work out. That's unfortunate for everybody. Rusty and I look at it as the equalizer because that means that we're all showing up on the same weekend, and we're all going for it. They don't get a week or 2 weeks of figuring the track out before we get there. So
Right.
I personally really love it because we're bringing the bank down to bump into them. But hopefully it all happens. I can't wait to see everybody. If nothing, I'll bring the barbecue and the beer. So it's a long trek for us. Hopefully we make a decision before the race weekend. But otherwise, we'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. And the Northwest Race Report will be there for sure. I don't know if all three of us will be there, but I don't know if it is. If you're not too busy, we might try to.
I only got one cart this weekend, so I will not be that busy, and it is ready to go.
So we could probably have a little pre-race show. So anyway,
absolutely,
that's going on. And then also the kickoff for the Burris Summer Shootout Series.
I'm so excited about this and so glad that Shane Smith's putting this whole program on again. It's a great race. I love what he's doing, taking it to 4 different tracks. That's a big deal. There's a few more of the F200s coming out of the woodwork, and I'm really glad to see that. I'm loyal to my KT and my engine builder, Collins Engines, so I'm sticking with the KT, but the F200's looking more and more enticing all the time. It's a ton of torque, ton of power right there. So
yeah, for sure. Now, you have you seen, Jeff? Have you seen the UAS guys run?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, you'll yeah.
We need to get you to a race.
Yeah, you'll dig it. And here's what I know. Talking to the Rocket here earlier on, there's like 4 new UAS cars. I know Rusty King's got one. Of course, Kevin White's got his 250 and 450, and then Brian Williamson's built one. Don't know if that one will be ready, but maybe. And then there was one more.
Tony Williamson was putting a 450 together as well.
Maybe that was the 4th one. I don't know. I thought it was, but I know Rusty King's been putting one together.
Oh yeah, that one's done, scaled, and ready to go. I've seen pictures of that one, so that's nice. There are a couple others that'll be showing up. I was counting the other night, and I came up with 10 UASs. Just out of the back of my mind. So, Hager, yeah, there's another one.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
That's right, Hager.
He's going for the
he's going
trophy.
for the championship, and I'm going to say that is that's a game changer.
He's got plenty of horsepower. He's just got to figure out the tires. He's behind on tires. So once he gets that figured out, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And his dad's finally come on board here recently, so he's got a hell of a tuner behind him.
Well, I'm just going to say is, like, okay, so you think about it. So Ronnie upped his game last year, right? Was all in. And, man, it made a big difference in that program for sure, the Uncle Chuck's Racing program. It was awesome. Renee has done some motor work. Granted, she's not probably going to be at a whole bunch of them. But then you add Shane, who's now settled down from the job thing and all that. So he's going to be probably focused to kind of get, because he didn't have a good year last year, let's face it. I mean.
Now, he had a rough road.
Yes, he did. But, the Rocket's going to want to repeat. And you got Shane going to want some redemption. And then you got Hager wanting to be the new guy coming in there.
Well, then,
just setting everything up for just a heck of a summer.
And then you got the Sean Carr and the Stackman combining together. I mean, that is going to be wow.
And the other one is the 5-0. You can't count him out.
He's coming with a backup cart from bumper to bumper. And
then we haven't even talked about the 7 yet. Eric Stansberry, he's coming back from. So and arguably. He's probably got, I don't know, Ronnie will probably argue this, but looking at the Buddha, watching that, they got some motor.
Well, and you have to give Stansberry and Ward a hats off. They own Albany and they've owned Salem. You won't get a quicker lap out of anybody other than those two. They've been inconsistent, but once they get it all figured out, it's gonna be wow. Wow.
Well, if I remember right, last year Stansberry did not have a good Albany. He was pretty much junk, but
he makes some fast laps.
He does. Even, those guys are they're good. They're all good. It's just going to be game on. That's what I hope. But, before I forget, that Burris Summer Shootout, the KTC, it's going to be cool. The winner of each event gets a set of Burris tires of their choice. And And then also the top 3 in championship points at the end of the year all get a free set of tires. Purse is going to be dependent on the number of entries. So, guys, the more that show, the bigger the purse, as it should be, I guess. And then all the formats, the way everything goes, it's just going to be per track. So, whatever track you're visiting, they're going to use the same format as their track uses. There's no prepping at the track. You can clean your tires and all that, but no prepping at the track. F200s only, and Yamahas. That was it. No other engines. Obviously, Burris tires only. 370 pounds everywhere except for Sunset. 375 is what you got to weigh. And, and the rules are at www.burrisnationalspeedwayseries.com. So you can go there and get a copy of the rules to see what, because I guess they will follow Burris Speedway rules.
Right.
To the T.
And Shane's been teching at all the races that we've been to. Shane's been teching, so that's great. I love to see that. Another note on that is I've hired a tech man this year for our series. Out of the 8 races, we will be teching 3 of them. I am not telling you which ones they are, but I will have a hired tech man at 3 of our races.
Who'd you get, Martinet? Or did you get Randy Wynn?
Mark Wynn.
Mark Wynn. I haven't seen Mark in a long time.
Yeah, no, so I'm pretty excited about all that. We will be meeting with him probably in the next couple weeks and hammering out what we're going to be doing. But, yeah, I have definitely hired him for 3 races this season. So beware that there will be tech. Our fuel tester showed up last week finally. So I have the newest and the most state-of-the-art fuel checker as well, and we will be doing that on every race weekend out there at ORV. So
wow, yeah. So
when's ORV starting?
ORV is starting May 28th is our first race, and then 29th the next day will be our second race. So we're running a doubleheader right off the bat. The UAS will be there with us on the first day, and the Yamaha F200 Burris will be with us on the second day. So it's going to be a busy weekend, and I am looking very forward to it.
Yeah, me too. For sure. It's always awesome up there at ORV. I mean, it's the Pat's Acres of speedway racing, really. It's just the whole...
it's a good time.
I think it's called ambiance.
Ambiance.
That's the romantic way, right? It's kind of
we're in the
sexy.
woods doing it.
Yeah.
It's what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere you look, it's hills and trees and woods, and so we're there in the middle with a nice little clay oval.
Jeff's nodding his head like, "Oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there for sure." Yeah, and also just a reminder too that Scott Smith in the house, right on.
He's been checking in.
Hard Rock Racing, what is up, my peep?
He said he's doing better. Did he have a problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. Scott Smith is he races with MS, and he's quite a guy.
He says he's doing better now. So
that's awesome.
I hope that
awesome.
continues.
Well, we love you here, Scott Smith, that's for sure. And I don't care what anybody says, you can sing. So whether you think so or not, I thought you did a great job with the national anthem. But hey, Cycleland coming up 24th, 25th. That's the big not Cycleland, but in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's that new Speed Sport News cage kart shootout.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see. Because, that sport was basically invented out here. I mean, it kind of moseyed back there, but I mean, the dudes that are the dudes, QRC, RFC, all them Wheeler. I mean, they're from here.
Yeah, they get it done. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Earnhardt, the little Earnhardt girl, she's I can't think of what her last name is now, but Eltridge, she's running a cage cart back there with Grandpa's number on it.
Oh,
it looks so cool.
Sweet.
They were doing a video of it, and there went the number 3. It was flying by, and she this weekend is getting in a late model car.
Wow,
Hallelujah.
She's 15 years old.
Man, If only, right? I mean, that's definitely the right place, the right time. You know, whether you had anything to do with it or not. But
well, she's proven as a driver. I mean, the cage kart deal, she dominated her class.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so
That's a tough one to dominate too.
Well, it is until the Wheelers and the Burks and the Jesse Caldwell. I mean, you know, Ryan Foster. I mean, there's some guns out here that, I mean, arguably it doesn't get any tougher than right here on the West Coast.
yeah,
I mean,
go to Red Bluff.
Yeah, yeah. You win there. You're saying, you got Logan Seavey. You got, I mean, no.
Well, the time when I was down there, Rico Abreu was running.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Kyle Larson, both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, go figure. You may dominate, but
Well, like I said,
you
that's
might,
East Coast.
yeah. I mean, it's all kind of relative, but still, I mean, you dominate. It's not your fault. You race who's there. So that's pretty cool. Man, we're gonna wait on Mikey Burris. He's supposed to be. I had to send. He says, this was hilarious. It says, he is funny. He says, well, I said so. He says, I'm in. He says, but okay, remind me because I get old. I got old timers disease and a lot of going on. So, hey, Mike Shorn in the house. Right on for tuning in, buddy. And so, yeah, that's where, you know, I think this weekend, too, down at Cycle Land, I heard from Kurt Burris, they're running down the tree because he's going to go on Saturday.
I really want to make it to Cycle Land. It sounds like a really fun place.
That's what I hear, too. I hear it's crazy.
Yeah, we need to make our way down there, whether it be with carts or just announcing. Either way, but I would really like to make it down there and support them. Good bunch of people down there that have nothing but good stuff to say about us, and we got nothing but good stuff to say about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, talking with Kurt Burris today, and we had a little chit chat. You know, if you stop and think about, they're everywhere, right? Speedway wise. I mean, they're constant. You know how much dollars they must spend every year? I mean, because they are sponsoring this, that, this. I mean, they're almost just about every speedway show you see. You got Burris, you know, at the helm.
Burris does a good job of spreading themselves around. They pick and choose who they want to support, and they do a good job of supporting them. And I'm glad for that because we would be nowhere without our tire programs. That's for sure.
You there, sir?
Hey, Terry, how's it going?
Oh, man, you have no idea. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome our Blue Line Graphics in the seat guests. Be sure you check out Blue Line Graphics because they've got over 50 sweet wraps and designs for your racing needs, whether it be car, kart, whatever. BLG.blue. Check them out. Our guest here is a legend. I mean, in karting, he's been around. He's seen it all. And I'm honored to have on the show Mr. Mike Burris. What is going on, my man?
Not much. Thank you for having me. You and I always have some good talks together. So when you invited me on tonight, I was looking forward to it.
Man, you have no idea, Mike. I'm super excited. So I understand you have old timers disease. Is that true?
That's what I call it. Yeah, that's my excuse for forgetting to do something.
There you go. That's what you get to blame it on. I like it.
So, what are you working on as of late? You got any special projects in the works? You're always working on something cool.
Well, I'm building a new gun.
Guns are fun.
I'm building a. We'll talk. No, it's legal. It's no big deal. It's just I like doing stuff like that, making something from scratch. So
right.
But no, I had a U.S. thing on the burner, but it's not really doing that well around here as far as, you know, races and whatever, and I just don't have time to travel. I'd love to. I mean, that's what we used to do for a long time. We'd travel all over the country, but we've, you know, got some new things coming up, and I've been spending a lot of time in the Carolinas, and feels like home down there. The people are super good, and the racing's good, and actually a lot of transplants back there because of NASCAR and the racing.
Yeah. Well, I know you were working on a while back. You were like down in Vegas. You were down working on a quarter midget gearbox. It was like a gear reduction thing. You've got that pretty well ironed out.
Yeah, we got it ironed out. We just can't get it into production. the guy that it's got some complex internals in it and gears and things like that. So it's not something you can just have somebody do. And plus, he was in on the design work, and he's just. I don't know. He's been a little slow, but we got the castings done for the gearbox, and it'll be up and running pretty quick. Testing went super good. We didn't have any trouble whatsoever, which is really good for a clean, cheap product like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They take a lot of abuse in those cars because there's no clutch or anything. They're direct drive, and if they spin out, all of a sudden all the internals start going backwards in it and load it, and so it did good. One of the guys we had testing it, his name is Chris Yonchuk, and he works at ECR, which is Earnhardt Childress engine division of Richard Childress Racing, and he's like they're one of the top guys over there, real sharp, and he just loves the gearbox, and he's actually been he runs it and sends it back to us for inspection and runs it again. So it's been good. But, yeah, we were trying to, like I said, I had some ideas for a UAS car, but I'm just kind of got it on the back burner right now.
Why?
Well, I mean, I go to race for the competition. And it's just, we got a couple of good cars, but there's just not that many people racing, and it's kind of,
you need to come up our way because this weekend is going to be big. I mean, it's going to.
Yeah, up your way, but hell, that's 1,100 miles or something, and I can't. It's a day, straight through driving, and
so
like
you live.
I just don't really have the time right at the minute. So.
Yeah, I got you. So you live in North Carolina. Well, you sort of do, but you can't make 1,100 miles up here. No, I'm just giving you crap.
Well. Yeah, and I fly back there, so. But I'm going back there the weekend. In 2 weeks, I'm actually going back there for a race. It's called the North Carolina Dirt Series, and they got a couple of classes back there with Burris tires in them that are starting to do well because that was kind of one of those areas back there where we didn't have a strong presence, and basically, we kind of lost it due to politics with WK and everything, the way they started selling things off before they went under, And
right.
Kind of because we had some of that business, and then they had their hand out, and somebody gave them some money, and same stuff that happened to IKF. They've kind of sold their soul, and now they're kind of, I don't know what they're doing now.
They're backpedaling. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Well, Mike, you've been around. You've seen it all basically from the beginning. But in your personal opinion, what is it that what's the biggest mistake karters do with the tires? Because tires are, let's face it, they're a big part of what goes on. But what is the biggest mistake that you think most racers, or the biggest, like what do you call it, a old wives' tale that karters have about tires?
Ooh, I got it.
Well, it part of it's the internet's fault because there's a lot of free information on there, and it's just like anything else you read on there. A lot of it isn't even true and you don't even know the source of it, and people will see something on there, and the next thing you know, they're talking, like. See, people nowadays, they've gotten lazy, just like they've gotten fat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of funny, but, if you don't want to get fat, well, don't eat so much. And, I've got a gut on me now I'm trying to work off, and I know that I can't go buy some machine to rub my belly a little bit and make it small. So, but it's the same thing with the racing is you got to work on the car, and you have to understand what the car does to make the tires work. There's so much misinformation, and like first thing people ask is like, well, what are they durometer, and that really isn't what makes a tire work. The softness of the tire that had some validity years ago when there really was, just one type of rubber that they were putting on the treads of tires, and they wanted them to stick more, they just make it softer. If they wanted them to last longer, they made them harder, And,
yeah.
but the art of compounding has changed a lot in the last 10 or 15 years, and people just, they think because they can get some chemicals and put on there that it's going to make the tire work, when really a lot of things they've done to the carts have actually taken grip out of them. Like run too much left side weight, or run the cart too low. The vertical center of gravity
right,
is too low in them. So people have to understand there's two things that make a tire work, and you need to get downforce on a tire to make it work. But there's two ways to get it. You can either get it through aerodynamics, or you can get it dynamically through the race car, like you see a late model or something like that. You know how when they go in the corner, they've got the body so the damn thing almost rolls over on its side to push down on the outside tires to make them grip.
Right. So it's like dynamic transfer, I guess, is what they.
Yeah, exactly. They use weight transfer and everything, and to illustrate that, if you had a car that you set up as to run on a skid pad, and it was real low and real wide with a lot of left side weight in it. Okay, let's not even go a lot of left side weight. Let's just use this analogy. The car's pretty well, 50-50. We'll say left to right. But anyhow, you set the car up. It's real wide. Everything is real low in it and everything. Well, you go out and run the skid pad, and eventually, the faster you go, eventually the car will slide out of the circle. Okay, now you come back and raise the seat up, okay, and narrow the cart up. You raise the seat up, pretty high. Get the vertical CG up, get it up high, and you narrow the car up, and you go back out, and the faster you go, the harder the car grips until eventually it'll just roll over, okay? You see that happen sometimes when an oval track car with a lot of left side weight in it spins out, or a super modified. When they spin out the wrong way, they'll just flip over. And that's because the car's transferring so much weight to the tires that they can't slide, so it rolls the car. And all you got to do is look at that in your mind, and you go, well, hell, if we just kind of start taking left out to where the car hooked up, we wouldn't have to do all this stuff they're doing, to try to get grip. So, but there's just so many things to it that the wide rims. Every time I've tested that for 30 years, you put a wide rim on it, takes grip out of the tire. Guys will put these big-ass wide rims on there, and then they go put chemicals on it trying to get the grip back.
Well, and I think a lot of that, too, is they're thinking that, by stretching the tire, the surface is the surface, right? You could stretch that thing till you're purple, but there's only, whatever the measurement is, there's only so much of that that's going to touch the racetrack. You're not going to get any more of it by bowing the sidewalls and stretching that thing out so it looks like a log. That's the part I don't understand.
What they've done, though, is that whenever they put them on those wide rims, is that if you look at the tire from the back, if you're going through a corner, we'll say the right rear tire, if you're going through a corner, the tire's trying to stick, so that means that the chassis is trying to go out, so it's really kind of pushing the tread of the tire closer to the center of the race car, okay?
Right.
That being said, if you look at the sidewalls in it, now they've got them cantilevered, so if you look at the inside sidewall, it's pointing in. Well, if you load it, it's going to stand up. And what that does, that makes the tire taller at that point, but in order for it to move over there, it has to pull the outer shoulder down, and that makes the tire smaller. So long story short, the tire goes cone shape and wears the inside shoulder out. And if you have any stagger in the back, that exaggerates the situation because it's like cambering the rear end.
Ah, makes total sense.
Because anytime you look at something on a race car, it makes it real easy to figure out what it's doing if you just exaggerate it. Don't try to sit there in your mind thinking if you move this an eighth or whatever. Just say to yourself, a good example would be, what happens if I move the left rear tire out 2 feet, okay? Well, what happens is is when you load it, the axle on the outside drops down, so the plane of the axle is actually going up. So if you extend the wheel out far enough, it actually comes off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you have it to the center, the more it stays in contact. So, it's just stuff like that. And then another myth is these guys put all this damn camber in the front end because they see some big race car on it, but almost everybody I talk to doesn't realize that when you turn a cart to the left because of where the kingpin is, the tire actually cambers even more negative. We're on a race car or even a passenger car. When you turn left, the outer tire actually cambers out at the top. It starts going positive, and you can just go out in your car and turn it hard left and look at the right front tire, and it's cambered out at the top.
Yes. Well, I've always said that.
And what it's doing, it's doing that so that the tire, it catches the outer shoulder. If you look down on the ground, now all the pressure's on the outer shoulder of the tire, so then the load starts there and dissipates across the tire. But these guys run these big 800s on the front, and the minute they turn, they're running on the inside shoulder, so they got 7 inches of tire out there just running in free air, and yet they're real anal about rotating weight, so I don't get it.
Well, that's what I always said was because it was like, man, what is the deal? Why? And number one, the camber thing is crazy, right? 3 degrees negative or whatever, like on a race car, they run that. Well, there's just no, when you roll in there, it's supposed to be helping put that tire flat. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily sold on the fact that you need to have a whole bunch in there because, shoot, I'll bet you 90% of the people couldn't tell you how much it's moving anyway, right? There's no real way to bump that like you do on a car.
Well, they don't. Not only that, but they don't know how much it's moving, but they really don't know the dynamics of it, of where it's moving. Another thing is when you crank a lot of caster into the front end. Here again, if you just exaggerate it, if you put 90 degrees caster in it, and you turn left, the wheel actually just lifts straight up in the air, just goes straight up. Okay. If you take all the caster out and turn, the wheel goes forward in an arc, but it stays flat. So when you put caster in it, and especially with a lot of caster, as soon as you turn, the tire is actually cambering in more and lifting up at the same time. So you're pulling that tire off of the ground and pulling a bunch of cross out of it, and that's one reason why everybody has to run so damn much cross in them. Well,
that's what I was going to ask you next is, how much, guys, there's some crazy numbers on cross weight. It's like, I've heard anywhere, I've heard guys running close to 70 cross. I don't know. Is that a crutch or, what? Because I know when I was doing it, they were going the other way because they were saying with too much left side makes the car, once you lose it, you lose it. There's no saving it. So it makes it a little more, forgiving that way. But I don't know. I guess it's the old thing.
See, a lot of this got started when they started the cambering thing because as soon as you do that, the front end loses grip. Well, instead of somebody saying, well, that ain't right, and go back to where they were, they try to fix it, and by doing that, to get it to turn, now they got to run more nose weight in the car. Well, in a car with horsepower, that's no good because you need all the weight you can get on the rear to make the damn thing hook up when you're leaving the corner. So, but that's what ends up happening is that in order to get the car to turn, because Kyle Adkins and I were talking one day, and he says he made a statement. It was kind of funny, but it makes a lot of sense. He says that the front end is the first thing into the corner, so if you don't get that in right, the rest of the car ain't going in. So so anyhow, that being said, what they've done when they camber, well, the thing won't turn. So two things take place. They start putting more nose weight in the car to push on the tire more, but it's still not enough. So they start putting cross weight. And most of the reason they're putting cross weight in, they don't know it, but the reason they're putting all that cross in and it works is because they're actually pushing down on the front tire and it's hoping it turns, but at the same time, they're sitting on the left rear so hard that the car doesn't want to turn. So it's a catch-22.
Yes, it is. Well, okay. So for example, say the guys this weekend, a lot of them are going to be the KT and the F200 guys. What kind of setup suggestions would you give them for those guys that are obviously they have to be on Burris, but I mean, what would you give them a suggestion for as far as setup?
Oh God.
I mean, we're not going to hold you to anything, but I mean, stuff that they should be looking at.
It's like anything. It's all really a combination. You got to get the combination right. Somebody could come over and tell me what gear they got, and I could change the gear, and I probably could, I could go slower where they're running fast with it, or somebody could tell me how much air they're running. But see, here again, that gets back to combination, and that's another thing that I've always found is if you have to run low air in the car, and that's where it works best, that's a red flag to me that something's not right in the car, because the car's transferring weight and working good on a dirt track car. There's no reason why you can't run at least 10 pounds in the right side tires on those things at the weight they're running at.
Yeah. So, but for the KT guys or the F200 guys, I mean, let's just say they said, Mike, I got no idea. Where should I start with this thing? I'm going to go put it on the scales. Where should I start?
Well, I can throw some numbers out there, and but it's to start with, getting back to you got to get the thing into the corner. Now, here's another thing. I'm not real big on the wide rims. Like I told you earlier, every time I've tried that, the car's been loose or it hasn't handled right, and the tire doesn't have a good sweet spot. It makes it real temperamental. So getting back to that with the narrower rims. But in the last year or two, I've been running narrower tires on the front and having very good luck with them. And everybody's got that great big tire up there, but I'd run I wouldn't be afraid to I'd run a 600 on the right front up there. They don't need that 800 up there, because here again, the way the tire works, if you got a narrower contact patch and a fairly tall tire, you're going to get the pounds per square inch. That's why on a sprint cart they run those little 450s up there, and hell, they turn on a dime.
Yes, I've always said that, Mike. I don't get why that. I mean,
well, it's just a monkey see, monkey do thing. That started years ago when they started running the big tires back there, and somebody put one on the front, and everybody does it now. I mean, some of the carts are actually built around those things, and if you put anything else on there, I was helping a kid in North Carolina get dialed in, and we couldn't get enough negative camber out of it. We had to cut the damn spindle and change the angle of the axle coming out of it so we could get the the camber we wanted. But if it was my car, and actually one thing I like on a lot of the dirt tracks, like they run on up there and down here and some other spots, is a straight up go-kart. You don't really need an offset go-kart. I mean, those things kind of came in because people started running a lot of left side weight, but I would get a car and probably run maybe about 52% left in it, and run the right front tire on the thing. We run positive on the camber, because as soon as you start to turn left, it rolls back over to negative, or it rolls back to zero or even to negative. But that and low caster in it, so it keeps the tire on the ground. But that, and then running like if you're going to run an 800, we run a 9-inch rim on there, and I don't worry about the diameters as much as some people do. Some people, we get guys called down here and they say, "Oh hell, I worked 2 nights on this thing and I can't get it at 34 1/4." And I go, "Well, what's wrong with that?" I mean, hell, I run our stuff at 34 3/4 or 35 all the time. And I mean, if you get the difference between the two that you want, and usually that's the left rear and the right rear. That's really what counts. But by shooting too low, you create a lot of work for yourself, and it's hard to maintain it. I just leave my stuff I actually stretch them when I get them, and then bring the left rear tire up to match it. And I don't run much stagger anyway.
It is monkey see, monkey do, definitely. I'm curious to know what you keep saying that we run big rims, which are usually a 10, or sometimes even guys running a 10 1/4. What would be your ideal wheel size to run all the way around for your tire?
Well, actually, on the 810. I'd run a 9-inch rim on there, and I've always run a 9-inch rim. I've tested 10s, and I don't like them. It was funny because my grandson Zach is my driver, and he kept bugging me to run some wider rims on there. And we went out to the track, and we went out and got a baseline, and we come in, we put a wider rim on, and he come in and he goes, "It feels better." And I says, "But," and he goes, because he had, we got a micron on there and it tells him everything. So he says, "But it's slower." I go, "Yeah, and you got to really be careful getting in the corner, don't you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And as soon as we went back to the narrower rim on there, the thing, it picked back up. One thing that we ran at Phoenix was the new 1150s on there, and that's the fastest we've ever ran with that car. Those things worked out real good for us. We run an 850 on it, not the 950, but we run the 1150 by 850 by 6 on there, and that was a sweet tire, and they came in real quick, and the car was real good with them.
Was that on a 9-inch wheel?
The rims, and then on the front, I would run a 600 if you're running slicks. Because, see, when they run treads, hell, they only run that 550 up there, which in reality is about the same size as our 600 is, our 600 slick is. So, size-wise, they're in the same envelope. And all the outlaw parts like you got up there and we got down here that run those 500s, they all run that 550 on the front that I've seen. I haven't seen any with that big-ass 800 on the right front, but maybe they do, but I haven't seen it. So
there are a few. Everybody's caught up in that big thing. I mean, you look at the right front, man. It's a rear tire on there. I mean, it's like, man.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And with the wide wheel, it takes a sidewall out of the equation, which to me is silly, but I'm with everybody else. That's what everybody's doing, so that's what I've been doing. But I've always wondered why we're taking the sidewall out of the equation. It's like you said, it's cantilevered in, so there is no sidewall to lie back on. So it's...
Just look at a modern race tire on anything but a go-kart, okay? And if you look at it from the back, you'll see whether, we'll say like NASCAR, whether it's a radial or a bias ply tire, you'll see the rim width is about the same width as the tread on top.
Right.
Okay? Technically, it's all tread, whether it's grooved or slick. Some people call tires treaded tires, but they're groove tires. But the point is, if you've got a tire that's got a 7-inch wide tread, they've got a 7-inch wide rim, and then the section width of the tire is the maximum width between the ID of the tire and the OD. There, you want a little bit of bulge in it because it acts like a spring. If you look at it from that standpoint, when you go to collapse the tire, because it's already got a bulge or a radius in it, it lets the tire collapse and roll so it catches the outer shoulder. But the way they've got them now, they got the tires all boxed in and they just don't function properly. They're not utilizing the whole tire, and the wear tells you that. I mean, but you can't. You try to tell people that, but it's like talking to a wall. I mean, I do my own thing, and there's a few people. I had a guy back east that ran the narrow rims, and nobody paid any attention, and they started accusing him of running special tires because they knew I was helping him, and finally he told him, he said, look at that tire for a little bit, and the guy he still didn't know what the hell he's looking at, but
It's true though. I mean, I hear a lot of guys back east. We don't have the grip here that they have back east, but I hear a lot of guys back east talk about hopping coming off the corner, and that makes total sense now. If you've got a tire all the way stretched out, there is no absorption there for when it does lock down. So it all it can do is release the energy, i.e. hop, whereas if you had a narrower rim, it would be more absorbed in it and you wouldn't get that hop. It would just merely pull or wrinkle, we'll say, coming off the corner rather than making it load, unload, load, unload, load, unload. So,
well, carry this a bit further, like I mentioned earlier, okay? You combine the narrower rim with higher air pressure, and you don't get that. That's why I say, if somebody tells me that if they put air in the tire and the car don't work, I tell them you got a problem. And yet, because everybody runs 4 pounds, you think about, see what happens is your left front, you're in an oval track, well, actually in any kind of go-kart right now, but your inside front tire is what I call a tuning tire, okay? And it really just makes the chassis work. And by that, what I'm going to say is, like, okay, we'll start out about 8 pounds in the left front. So, and you know, we do a preliminary weigh on the car, and then we get the track. So let's say, for instance, the car's tight getting in the corner, okay? Well, if I had really low air pressure in the tire and you turn, the path of the tire is, the left front, is that the tire comes back and down, okay? And it's supposed to, when it comes down, it's supposed to unload the inside rear, but because the sidewall is so soft in it because of the low air pressure, then consequently what happens is all the movement up there is taken up in the tire and not transmitted through the chassis. Now, and you can check this real easy on scales. If you go back and air the tires up and then put the same movement in it, you'll see your corner weights change a bunch. And I've actually, to the point now where once I get a sweet spot in the car, I go up and down with air to change cross and bite and everything in the car. Like people, they get real anal about stagger, but really that tire unloads when you go into a corner. So what I've found is that instead of changing diameters of the tire, I leave it real close to the same as the outside tire, and I go up and down with air. If I drop the air down real low, it fools the car into thinking that it's got more stagger, and yet I jack the air up in the tire. When we ran Phoenix the last time, I had more air in the left rear tire than I had in the right rear tire. And the car, if I would have scaled it, it would have actually acted like de-stagger, but the car you could flat foot it so much because the ass end didn't want to come out on you.
Wow. Those of you just tuning in, Mike Burris is our guest here on our Blue Line Graphics in the Seat, and he's giving us some setup tips. So will we see your pretty face up this way at all this year, or are you going to be pretty well booked up?
No, actually, I want to come up and see one of Shane's races. I don't know. I'm getting into the busy season right now, and like I said, I've got some stuff that I want to keep hitting it until it takes off. It's in there to stay, but I want to get some momentum out of it. So people are pretty pissed off about the tire situation back there, and yet it's kind of funny. I was talking to Kurt about it earlier today. They come up and bitch to me about the tire thing, and then when somebody has one of those big money races, they go and spend $3,000 on tires and come home with their tail between their legs. So I don't get it, but at least if you're going to get your ass kicked, you can spend a lot of money running our stuff, and you can be competitive. So, but there was a guy that runs for Harold Wiggins, and he went to a race a while back, and he went through 14 sets of maxes. So,
how many? Did you say 14?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that doesn't raise much eyebrows back there. There's guys. I had a guy. There was a race in Carnesville, and a guy that he's out of North Carolina. He called me on his cell phone. He goes, "This is nuts." He goes, so and so, I think it's that Yarborough kid. He goes, he's been through 3 cases of tires already, you know. And see, Maxxis has got some of this stuff. They call it one and done, where it has so little rubber on it, and they do all this funny stuff to it that, you know, you go out on the track one time and you really don't want to run it again. And most of that stuff has turned into a deal where they're working on those tires all week long, where our stuff, we got guys, at Liberty there, we got guys that are running them, you know, straight up, and they've run 3 races on the same set, you know, so
right.
It's just, it's there. I just got to, you know, get some people on it, but, you know, like, and you know, you're talking about the prep thing, but the cutting thing too, you know, is personally, I don't see the value in it. And some of the stuff, the guys claim that they trued the tire up, but actually they had a crooked rim, and all they did was create thick and thin spots in the tire. If you can picture what I'm saying, if you got a tire that's out of round and you go trim it up, most of them have pretty even tread distribution around them. Sometimes near the center on the wide tires, they get a little thin because of they call it pantographing, but, you know, you start cutting the rubber off, and one of the real no-nos, these guys that cut the shoulders off, they want the damn thing to look like a big basketball or something. I don't know what the deal is with that, but they claim that they're getting the rotating weight down, and yet if you look on a data logger, especially this clone stuff, they're running this. I mean, it's like they're running the same RPMs almost all the way around the track. So it's not like the whole assembly is slowing down and speeding up, but.
Makes no sense to me. I have guys all the time that take your good Burris tires and trim them down to be like a Maxxis that's so thin, and it makes no sense to me. I don't understand cutting your tire life in half before you even bolt it on the car. It just makes no sense to me. But, you know, it's like you said early in the show, it's monkey see, monkey do. Somebody does it and it works, and then everybody does it. So it's
a lot of it
kind of
doesn't
sad.
work. I've actually mentally kept track. I've gone to tracks that I've been going to for years back that way. There's a track in Indiana that I was going to, and they got on the prep thing, and they're over their head in it now. But the funny thing is, some of the fucking track records were held, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So you figure that with the technology and the advancements in chassis and all this other stuff, and they're going the same speed, come on, you know, I mean,
they should be going faster.
Well, I would think so. And the opens, same thing. Most of that UAS stuff, the tires they run on them, it's like a cat and mouse game. But since they're all doing it, most of the big races I've gone to, about 4 laps into a big race, and you start seeing the times drop off a bunch, and they shouldn't do that unless the driver gets tired.
Yeah, that's not the case. The tires are going away, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So would you say that, and I heard this a couple years back, that by
the way, I don't cut our tires either. I hit them with a grinder when they're new to knock the skin off, because sometimes they have lubricant in the molds, and sometimes it gets in there and it takes a few laps to wear off, so that just speeds up the process. But anyhow, I don't cut our stuff. We actually had a Jones tire machine down here, and I sold it to Dismore at Comet Kart Sales.
I do the same thing. I don't cut any of my tires. I just I sand them because of the release compound that you guys use, and that's all I try to do is knock that edge off, and then after that I'm pretty much ready to go. But would you say that the biggest thing with the Burris tire is that they're usually run under pressure? I heard this from you guys a few years back, that you said that the most commonly thing done is that they're run under pressure, so too low of pressure.
Well, yeah, but that gets back to the setups, and people don't work on setups. I mean, those hubs are put on the axle for a reason, you know, so so you can move them around. And I never see a dirt track guy touch those things. You go to a sprint race, and they're still pretty much into it, and they leave the tires alone and work on the car. Obviously, they have different challenges, but same thing with NASCAR. These guys that don't know any better claim that, this guy does this and that and everything else, but first of all, those tires are at the race are given out by a lottery type thing. There's a company that supplies all the rims to the teams, and after the race they break them down and give the tires back to Goodyear, and they take the rims back and inspect them, and each team has their supply of rims, and so the tires themselves, the teams, they check them. I know a couple of the crew chiefs really well, and I get the inside story, but basically they check them out just to make sure there's not something oddball that's out of the way on them. A lot of them will get, like these spring rate checkers, and they're not looking for anything other than something that it doesn't look, it's kind of out of the ordinary.
Right.
But it's not like they have a favorite number they look for, and even at that, that's a little more predictable with what they're doing because they're working with a brand new tire that's actually made a radial. It is a little bit. Not a little bit. It's easier to make the same size every time than a bias ply tire is. The angle of the plies in a bias ply tire, especially a race tire, because there are only two plies. The angles in those things determine the shape and the size of the tire. And if you've probably seen some that are dipped in the middle, we call that tight. And if you get some that are too loose, the angles are loose. Well, then the ODs are big and they're crowned. But that's the other thing. You want a tire to work properly. If you look at any of this stuff outside of the kart stuff, you want the tire to have crown in it. You don't want it to be flat because when it sits on the ground, if you had a perfectly flat tire and you're running stagger, the first thing it does is sit on the inside shoulder. All the pressure's over there because there's nothing in the middle of the tire to support it. So
right.
That's another reason for having crown on the tire because when it hits the ground, it's kind of like a motorcycle tire, the same sense that a motorcycle tire can run at different angles and still get a contact patch. Where if you get a perfectly flat tire, it doesn't work properly, and you can see it like on a pro stock motorcycle. When they go to shut down, they have to lean way over on the bike to even get the damn thing to turn because the rear tire has those square shoulders on it, and they can't get the bike to do where they got to lean over and get the front end to turn.
Well, and that goes along with what you were saying earlier about the front end and only being running on the inside patch. When you have a tire that way and you cut it that way, that exacerbates the size of the patch that's actually making contact on the inside of the tire when you turn. So that makes total sense.
Cutting them that way?
Well, cutting them round, we'll say, or cutting them flat.
That's the thing is they're cutting they're cutting the shoulders off of the tire, and especially the outer shoulders. Those are the ones, like I said, when a tire works properly and you know it's working properly, you can see wear on the outer. You can see wear, on the outer shoulder. And a funny thing is, I was at Kevin Harvick's one day when he's moved now, but he had a house in a town called Oak Ridge back there, and he had a track at his house, and we were kind of messing around. He was running some F200 stuff. And we got to running the front end. We were, I told him because he goes, "How come you guys run so much camber in the negative?" And I go, "That's something those other guys do." I says, "I don't run our stuff that way." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That ain't right." And he goes, "Well, what do you do?" And I says, "Well, to be honest with you, I start taking camber out till I see wear all the way to the outer shoulder." And he goes, and his eyes lit up, and he came back, and he had some white shoe polish, and he goes, "This is what I used to do in my late model." And he just run some shoe polish across the tire, and when he went out and ran, he could come back in and see how far across the tire that the wear pattern was, because it would wear off the
Sure.
shoe polish. So, but yeah, it was kind of neat just to see him do it because it was kind of old school where, he didn't use any gauges. I use gauges sometimes. Well, I shouldn't say sometimes, but we'll check a car out if it's been hit or something. But once we get the track, I start changing stuff. It's kind of like tuning an engine. I mean, I tune the engine. If I don't care what the heat gauge says. If the spark plug is black, it's rich or it ain't right, So
yeah, needs more.
well, yeah. I mean, like I say, the spark plug don't lie. So, but yeah, like I said, a lot of this stuff these guys do, they cost themselves money and a lot of work, and plus the chemical thing. A couple of things. One of them is the stuff's dangerous, but the other thing is, I'm just really worried that one of these days, a lot of these racetracks, the outdoor ones, are built by a creek or in a bottom area, like I don't know if it's Baylands, but at Dixon track. But anyhow, a lot of that stuff is near a creek or bottomland, and if you get enough of that stuff on the ground, and it gets into the water table, or they have a big rain and it washes it in the river, they're going to know where it came from, and they're not going to come ask you to quit doing it. They'll take a test of the ground around there, and it's going to kill the industry. I mean, it's really very selfish what they're doing, but you try to stop it, and these damn people, they bitch and complain like they need it. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but that's what's happening.
No, I agree 100%. It is chemicals, and it is not good stuff. But, hey, Mike, we're bumping up against our time limit on this deal. We need to get you
wait, one thing.
Yep.
People say you can't police it, but if you know any quarter midget guys, they got rules with teeth in it, and if they even suspect you running this stuff, you're out. I don't know if how many of you guys know that, but they're really strict on prepping tires. And they police it, and they don't have a problem with it.
They've curved it early and haven't let it come in. I agree they do a great job of it.
No, there's ways of stopping it. I mean, first of all, just look at it this way: it's like cheating with fuel. Okay, if you know somebody's cheating on fuel and you're racing against them, you're not going to go look the other way. You're going to say, "Hey, that guy's cheating." You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with prepping tires. It's really hard to do that without getting caught, and especially what some of these guys do. I see them rolling on the tires, walking up to the grid, which is really, But anyhow, if you make the penalty strong enough, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you got to go up until it's a deterrent.
Right. I do agree with that. So what size shirt do you wear, Mike?
Oh, let's see. About 11.
Would that be an SS or a BB or? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, just I don't know what the width. It's kind of I don't need the extra wide stuff. I broke one of my feet real bad back in the day on a motorcycle, and so it likes a lot of room down there. I got a lot of bumps and knobs on it.
So Mike, what size T-shirt do you wear? I'm going to get you a shirt for being on the show.
I like XXL. I like the stuff just to kind of hang there.
Okay, I'll get it. 2XL for you.
If it's XL and it's and it's cut big, well,
yeah,
that's cool.
Okay.
But if you guys want to get back on this sometime, I'll be glad, because I really want to see the sport. Like Donald says, I want to make America great again. Well, I'd like to see karting great again, but the way they're going now, they don't have anything to offer, and a lot of stuff they're doing is just it's running off the entry level people. So if we can, if I can help somebody out, or I don't care what tires are running, I'll be glad to help them, just to help get their costs down.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Well, Mike, thanks. Well, what we need to do is we need to have. We need to get back in touch with you and just have just like a round table where we open it up and people can ask you questions, and we'll just do a whole show where you're on and people can ask questions, whatever they want, and then you can answer them. What do you think of that?
No, I'm for that. Best time for me is something like tonight. What's tonight? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Stuff like this, like Tuesday, Wednesday nights are good for me. Thursday sometimes, it's not fight night, so.
Well, I'll get in touch with you, and we'll set up another date here in the next month or so, and we'll just open it up. Everybody can just, if they got a question for you, they can ask it.
All right, and good luck with that. Like I say, I got Shane sent me a schedule, so I'm gonna look on there and I know he's going to run everything between now and I think July or August. So I'll try to get up there. That would be fun. You guys are a bunch of good guys, and I like the racing, and people are super. So I really want to get up there. I wanted to come up for the Buddha race, and my grandson Zach couldn't get off work, and I was going to bring Brody Roa. He was going to drive the car, and he's a really good shoe. He runs a sprint car, but I was going to bring him, and he found out he had to test on Sunday, and the only way I could get him back would be to fly him, and just a one-way ticket would have cost like a lot of money. So
Too much money.
yeah, I just kind of passed on it, but.
We appreciate you, Mike, and we would love to see you up here. So if you get a chance, please do come up.
All right. Well, you guys, good luck this weekend, and put some stuff on Facebook so we can see how the races are going.
We'll do it.
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right. Well, good luck to you guys, and thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Anytime, Mike. We're going to do it again for sure. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, everybody. Mike Burris, boy, you know what? That's what happens when you've got all that info. It just once you open the gates,
There's so much greatness there.
it is greatness. And not only that, he's a killer guy. So, boy, this is our first night. We're going our 90-minute deal. So,
Yeah.
I think he took. Well, Jeff, what do you got?
Yeah, let's see what Jeff's got.
Well, how about what we're going to do for racing this week? Grays Harbor's opening night, Saturday night. Skagit rained out last week, so this will be their opening night. Sunset rained out last week, so this will be their opening night.
Are these all Friday or Saturdays?
Saturday.
Saturdays, thank you.
And Willamette, that'll be their second race, and Cottage Grove will be their third. Riverside, they're still not, they don't run till the first of the month, and neither does Madras. And anybody craving a little pavement race, South Sound's having the Super Late Model 100, which is usually a really, really good show.
That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides, they run the vintage modifieds, and I love them.
Ah, yes, a good show there.
But how much?
That's good.
That's it. That's
How long do you want to go?
Well, I know, whatever you got. So South Sound's running. Is there Evergreen's got their local show? I'm sure this weekend.
Yeah, I got
They run every Friday night.
There's a few more that I've got penciled in now that I'll get going here.
Well, what do you got? What else you got?
Well, I was going to give you what the classes were for Grays Harbor.
What's that? I'm looking forward to that.
They run a 360 ASCS sprint car. They average between 90 and 100 miles an hour down the straightaways, so they're a pretty good load, about 1,475 pounds with about 700 horsepower.
Yeah, they're they're monsters. I think one was 1475, and then the other class was like 1575 or something like that.
Yeah, that's if you're running the sportsman sprint.
Got it.
And then they run an IMCA type modified. We're not sponsored by IMCA down there, but we follow by all their rules. So you can either run an open motor or you can run a crate motor. The crate motor, the advantage of the crate motor is you still have to weigh the same, but the crate motor, it takes about 75 pounds off the nose of the car. So you got a lot more flexibility in what you do. Their street stock class, you can run an open or you can run a crate. But if you run an open motor, you got to weigh 3,150 pounds. You run the crate, you can be 3,000. And then the one evening factor in the whole thing is everybody runs asphalt slicks. No grooving.
Oh.
Just the slicks. So, and another class for this weekend will be the Ford Focus Midgets.
That one's taken off.
They weigh 1,140 pounds with the driver. They're a sealed motor, and at last I seen, there was 33 cars pre-entered for this weekend.
Wow!
Our own Shane Biles and Renee Angel among them. Devin Barnes. There's quite a few old Oakwood boys and girls running that.
Well, yeah, it's going crazy, and that goes clear back to Carla and Galen Stewart. I mean, they've been in this thing since the very start of it. And I talked to Galen out there Saturday for just a little bit, and I said something. He says, "Oh, we only have just a little bit to do with it. It's the racer." Well, it isn't. It isn't. If it wasn't you pushing this along, there wouldn't be the racer.
They're the
exactly
backbone.
right. That's exactly right.
It's a big thanks to them. And then they run what they call a tuner class, which is a 4-cylinder car or truck. A lot of people start out in them. I kind of consider watching paint dry, but the guys that are in it, they have fun. That's what counts.
It's a big track for them.
Yeah, it is. And then I kind of want to give a kudos out. We got 2 guys down there that on their own time, their own cameras, their own computers, they do videos. And they will take still pictures too. And it's Nathan Prince, and his handle is Prince17 for on YouTube, or Aaron Reed, and his is Aaron's Racing Videos. They do this out of the love of the sport. And that's, to me, is really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like Nathan the other day, I just got my camera back from being fixed. And, I mean, he sends them in every year and gets them tuned up. He has one of the most unique shots that I've ever seen is he puts a camera in a box at the end of the front straightaway. So you will get the cars coming at you, and sometimes they get a little close.
And he had one hit the box.
Yeah,
correct?
he had one hit the box one night. The sprint car went tumbling, and one of the tires hit the box.
Wow.
And while I'm at it here, I got one other thing, and I want to give a shout out to the guy's name, Steve Korlistovich. I hope I didn't booger that one up too bad. Steve started a deal last year, and it's called the Modified Cup. And this is nothing more than there's no race schedule. You claim races, you claim your top 15 races at wherever you're racing at. It doesn't matter where you race. You could race at Grays Harbor this weekend. You could race at Skagit, Yakima, wherever you want to go. Your top 15 races will determine your points.
Wow.
And he got a bunch of people together, and it's like this year, it's $1,500 to win the championship. You get a wrap, you get a trophy that's made by Jeff Hansen, and Jeff Hansen's, he makes some of the coolest trophies I've ever seen. And then, you get a championship jacket that says you won the Modified Cup.
Yeah, that is cool.
So, I mean, and he does it it's another one of them, out of the love of the sport. He don't get a dime for any of this. He just kind of started it, run around, got some people.
Kind of like Dave Chisholm.
Exactly.
A lot like Dave Chisholm.
So, it's kudos to Steve. I spent probably an hour with him on the phone Sunday going over this stuff. And I was, you want me to promote you? He says, go for it. Washington drivers a little light this year as far as being into it. And that's one of his things for next year is to try to get some more Washington drivers into it.
Well, that's what it takes, though, is getting the word out there and letting people know that it is there. If they don't know about it, they won't know that they can do it. So that's great. And the more airtime we can give people like that are making our sports grow, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, Lippy and I were talking about this earlier. I can't give out the reason for it, but I'm just going to tell you that we are working hard. I appreciate Rocket's comment. He said best segment ever, good. That's what we try to do here is give you good information. Yes, we've got a show plan. Yes, sometimes it goes over. We don't get our stuff in, but that doesn't really matter. If it's rolling good and the info's good and it's something that, is going to benefit you guys, that's what we want. But I'm just going to tell you, listen to the show. You need to listen to it every Wednesday because you never know. We're working on stuff with people that now if you say you've heard, you heard it about it on the Northwest Race Report, there's potential discounts and all kinds of cool stuff going to be falling in place here. So I'm just letting you know, turn it on in the shop. You don't have to sit still and listen to it. That's not what it's for. It's, hey, you're out working the shop. That's what we try to do is we try to give you info, try to entertain you, try to do whatever. But again, listen to the show. You never know what's going to happen. We've got some cool stuff on tap. Lippy just told me about some really cool stuff. And so with that being said, we also need to know what you want to hear about. So if there's something you want to hear or something you like or, even if you didn't like, let us know. That's how we get better. That's how we can plan the show. That's how we can adjust our content so that it suits you because ultimately that's what we're doing this for. So,
absolutely. And he's right. We've been working our tails off on this end, and we're going to have some new product announcements coming in the weeks to come. So, stay tuned. There'll be some new stuff on tap I've been working on with a few people. There's some good things coming down the pike, and they want to let them loose on our show. So stay tuned for that. It's all good stuff, and that's what we're here for. We're bringing you the latest and the greatest. As soon as we hear about it, you'll know about it.
Absolutely. And so with that, everybody, man, even that 90 minutes goes quick,
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But we'll be back next week. Lippy will have his segment. He's got some more setup tips for you that maybe can help go along with the ones you got from the great Mike Burris. It was worth every every minute of it.
I'm still soaking it in. I'm going to be listening to this one on the way home.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just got to say, you guys have made the show what it is. It's just been taken off beyond my dreams. I never thought it was going to be this big. Big shout out to Jeff Eden taking his time to come over here and keep you posted on what's going on the dirt side, Grays Harbor, and all that stuff. But hey, it's all about you guys. That's I'm sure I can speak for Lip. That's why we're here. We want to make you better racers, more informed, and try to motivate you as best we can. So
absolutely. Some weeks it's tough for Terry and I to come in here. Jeff's a little new to the show. He hasn't got wore down yet, but Terry and I, we get wore down after a while, and sometimes it's tough for us to get in here, and we don't really want to be here. I know that's bad to hear for you guys, but it's turned out to be what drives us. Once we get here and get things going, it really rejuvenates us and puts fire back in us. So we might not want to make it in here and get things going, but once we do, thanks to all you people that tune into us and listen to us, it really gives us more fire in our belly to keep doing this and to hear the good things you have to say and know that people are out there listening to us. It makes it worth it. Sometimes we don't want to be here, but by the time the dinger goes off and we go live, the end of the show, we got our second wind, and we end up staying here an extra 2 hours just planning our next show. So, thanks to everybody that shows up. Thanks to everybody that makes it all a part of your lives, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Jeff, and thanks a lot to you, too, for taking the time to show up and be here and do all your homework and stuff. It's you've already just added to the show, so it's awesome, man.
Very refreshing.
Thank you.
So, well, I guess that's a wrap, man. 90 minutes, boom, like that. Another edition of Northwest Race Report in the books. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody Saturday down at Albany, the Quarter Point UAS race. Don't forget Odessa, Texas, having a big one down there too as well, the UAS people. So good luck to all of them down there. Dave Chisholm, all the gang back east. Thanks for tuning in. And Lip, in life and on the racetrack, what do you do when somebody's on the bottom?
Hit the high side.
Hit the high side, everybody. Gotta go high. We'll see you next week. I'll see everybody on Saturday. Look forward to it. Best of luck to everybody. If you're not going to be there, wherever you're racing, good luck. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Hey, racers, Glenn Tower here from the Northwest Race Report. With the invention of the internet, our local go-kart shops have really taken a huge blow. One of the great go-kart shops out there is O'Hagan's Karts and Supplies. They offer a great selection of karts, parts, and service. We all want to win, and O'Hagan's wants to help. O'Hagan's Karts and Supplies, Lebanon, Oregon.